Hi everybody! We'll get started here in just a few minutes. Welcome to the Sewalong. We'll get started in just a moment or two. Okay, so thanks for joining me, and let's get onto the prep table. There, that'll help. So hi, I'm Christy, and we're going to be talking about the hardware for the Sheera handbag by Tryxus, and then we're going to start cutting everything out. Everybody on our Facebook group was really awesome. They helped me decide which vinyl to go with my fabric, and then I got a couple of lining material colors. I want to start by talking about the hardware. If you don't know, there's a discount code right here in the bottom corner. Right here. You can use that discount code today only, and it's good for our Sewalong people. So if you haven't bought the pattern already, there's a good incentive to do so. At the bottom is the pattern location. So right here is the pattern location, as well as the Sheera hardware package by 2 minutes to stitch. 2 minutes to stitch. The number 2, word minutes, and the number 2, and the word stitch. They're on Etsy, and they're awesome. They also have zippers as well. So let's get into the hardware, shall we? Really basic hardware, really awesome setup too. I'm happy with the stuff that I picked out. I've chosen the antique brass. Hi, kitty. Yes, I know I'm talking to people. I've picked up the antique brass, and up onto my lap she goes. So I picked up the antique brass. Yes, I can get words out. I promise, guys. I am coherent. There's kitty tail. It's really nice and simple. We've got 4 1-inch swivel clips. I think 6 or 8, if I remember. 1-inch D-rings, 1-inch slider, some bag feet, and then I chose the zipper and the zipper pulls that will go along with my fabric that'll match. Nice and simple hardware. The bag feet that I got are kind of small. I picked up a small size not knowing which. I didn't look at my measurements, and me in millimeters versus me in inches is, I don't handle the conversion stuff well. So I got smaller bag feet than I expected, so I will be doing the large with you guys, and instead of the 5 locations for the bag feet, I'll be doing probably 7, just because they are so much smaller. I'm actually doing the large and the small. The small I'm doing on my own out of the same fabrics. So I'm making a matched pair. So feel free to join me. So today is our cutout session. And all we're doing today is prepping the pattern and getting everything kind of set up. A week from today is our first sewing session, and a week from then is our second sewing session. And if we need a third, we'll do a week from then. In all honesty, I usually shoot for 3 hours, and I usually get tired after 2. So, because, it's 2 hours of me not doing anything but talking. Yes, get off my lap. Thank you, kitty. So let's dive into it. So this is kind of where we start designing. So obviously I've picked out my pattern. You guys have picked out the pattern. I've gotten my hardware colors figured out. And the fabrics figured out. Now all I have to do is put them in the right order. We'll get this out of the way for now. And we will cut out, so I've traced the fabric, I've traced the pattern onto clear plastic so that I can see through it, so that I can do what's called fussy cutting, or rather, I mentally call it proper placement, but it's technically called fussy cutting. So this is the front exterior panel. And I've already cut the small out of this fabric. And I have the guys upside down. And the nice thing is, she tells us where the front strap placement is, so I can like not get some of these deer or foxes behind it. I'm trying to keep them in the center. Because of my clear plastic template, I can do placement a little bit better. Hi, Cheryl. Project is right there. It's the Sheera handbag by Tryxus, and it is beautiful. Link to the patterns at the bottom, as is a link to the hardware if you want to get it from 2 minutes to stitch. They also have zippers. That's the thing I was trying to think of. 2 minutes to stitch is awesome. Okay, so I'm looking at my strap placement. I'm trying to keep this deer and this fox kind of in there. And let's see, if I flip it over, I'll kill the back of the end of the fox, but not badly, not too much. But I'm going to also keep the center and this fox at the bottom nicely placed. And yes, there is a 15% off coupon if you would like to pick up some of her patterns. And I get to keep these pretty flowers. And if I can grab my pen. No skipping, thank you. So I do cheat a little with you guys. I will admit it. I do cut out the interfacing pieces before I get to the Sewalong, obviously. So I have my steam press over there. And if this was a solid, I'd definitely cut it on the fold. But I wanted to make sure I got the fussy cutting, the particular placement of some of the characters very careful. So that's why I didn't cut it on the fold like you usually can. And if it's a repeat pattern of something that isn't, if it's a repeat pattern of the same flower over and over and over, then fussy cutting probably isn't needed. But I'm way too particular. I think I might need to learn to relax a little bit. Don't we all need a little reminder to relax? Oh, and welcome, Cheryl, by the way. And that's actually a good thing to remind people, is that usually it takes about 30 seconds for you to put a message up on Facebook, for me to see it, for me to react. So it's not that I'm ignoring you, not by any stretch of the imagination. It's just that that's how slow Facebook return time for the internet stuff is. All right. So I'm not sure, you may or may not have been here when we talked about it, but I'm making actually the large version with you guys, and I'm making the small version just a little bit before. So usually make 2 versions of the same pattern at the same time when I do a sew-along, because I like to look like I know what I'm doing. while we are doing the Sewalong. So I'll do one pattern just a little bit before you guys, and then the other one with you, if that makes sense. Now I can use this piece to kind of give me an idea of how high I have to go to get around the corner that I cut there. But since I don't know what's under that, I'll still move and use this pattern. Okay, let's see. What will I be covering with this now? That's a lot of empty space, but it's a cute little butterfly. Maybe if I pop it up a little bit and get that fox in there. Put the strap right between the two guys. Bring it up a little further, and that'll keep that fox in the middle. And apparently there are some neighbor children having themselves going crazy. Hello, girlfriend. Good to see you. I know, right? This one's beautiful. I did have, so I was talking to the pattern designer, who is a sweetheart, by the way, and all of a sudden my pen isn't working. And it actually is 6 1-inch swivel clips, not 4. On the pattern directions that I downloaded, it said 4. Just so you know. So I gave her a little bit of feedback, and I said, hey, this kind of looks weird to me. Is it 6 or 4? And she's like, yeah, you're right. You're right. So, yes. When you're ordering your hardware, make sure you get the right number. And 2 Minutes to Stitch knows that. They have the right number. I went over their hardware with them this morning. I'm going to cut off his cute little butt, though, when I sew. But that's okay. By then I won't be worrying about what's where, because I would have already worried about it here. So yes, if you don't get the package of hardware from 2 Minutes to Stitch, don't forget you need actually 6 swivel clips, not 4. There we go. Now I'm going to steam, because this was folded, I'm going to steam that fabric just a little bit to get the fold out of it. And then put the interfacing over it. There we go. Okay. So that's our main pattern piece. Sorry, guys. I try and catch that before it starts making a horrible loud noise, but sometimes I don't get it. Especially considering some of you are listening and would like to have your eardrums back. There we go. Okay. So now we have our 2 main fabrics, or 2 main pieces. What is it called? Front exterior panels. And keep in mind, this pattern comes in 3 different sizes. So if you don't like a bag that's that big, trust me, it comes in smaller. Excuse me. Let me put that to the side. All right. So let's do the lining panel, and then we'll do the slip pocket. So I have a lot of dark blue, and I have not as much dark red. So let's do the main body of this in the dark blue. And these are a couple of scraps from when I was cutting out the other, when I was cutting out the small. We'll see if we can use up some of those. Cutting out this guy. I think that's going to work well. So I want to show you a method I started using a few projects back, but I don't know if I was doing them online with you guys or not. And it's using tailor's chalk when you're marking a dark fabric. Now, whether you're using a paper pattern or a plastic one, either way this works just fine. Get a few things out of the way. There we go. So, stable surface. And I have an uneven 2 layers, so I have to be a little careful. That's why I'm watching this corner. So I have a cutout corner right there, because I cut out a piece right there. Okay, so it works very well. Now, you're going to want to be careful, because some tailor's chalk leave residue on fabrics, and some fabrics don't care that tailor's chalk is around. I've already tested this, and it's fine with tailor's chalk, but not every fabric is, so you'll want to be careful and make sure. But taking some white tailor's chalk and just running around the edge, kind of like back when you were in grade school, if you did this in grade school, and you'd scribble really hard on a piece of paper and then pull off that piece of paper, it leaves kind of like a silhouette. That's what we just did here. And so I'm going to cut on the inside of that silhouette. And I'll steam off the marks from the selvage. And that works very well for me, in case you can't tell. And I kind of cheated when I got really close here. So my selvage is, here I'll put this behind it so you can see, it's got this chalk mark all over it, but that's okay because it comes off with a quick iron. But like I said, be careful because some fabrics don't like chalk marks, and so it will not come off with a quick iron. And this would be a perfect time to have black woven views. Perfect time. Unfortunately, I never remember to grab the stuff. Though I do have a wonderful big order of woven views coming in tomorrow. To be fair, I ordered it yesterday. So the fact that it's coming in tomorrow is amazing. Absolutely amazing. Sorry guys. I'll try not to let it happen again. That and my husband is probably asleep in the next room, so he'd probably appreciate if that didn't happen again too. So we just need 2 linings, and I did write all of the other stuff that we have to cut out on the front of my main lining panel, just so I will remember and it's easy for me to reference so I don't have to keep looking back at the pattern. And then I wouldn't have this slightly white, slightly not white, but you know, we deal. We put up with what we have to put up with. All right, there's the lining. And I did cut out a second pattern piece for the slip pocket, just to make my life easier. And I'm actually going to make the slip pocket out of the red, because I think that looks really pretty. And I think I'll do that whole thing again, where I draw around the outside, because it was easy and made my life nice. Just remember that these marks are kind of big, so like I wouldn't want to be on the outside of this white mark that I just made up there. I want to be on the inside of it, if that makes sense. And I am kind of using the butt end, because this is sloppy and I don't need a precise sharp mark that I would get from a side. I'm using the butt end just to give myself kind of a color crayon effect, I guess is the best I can give you. I should have used a rotary cutter on this long way, straight away. Oh well. There we go. Almost. Come on. There we go. Much better. All right. And I'm going to steam it just to get those center marks off. There we go. And this fabric had lots of fuzzies on it when I was cutting out the other version, so don't be surprised if if I have to roller it a few times. All right. Didn't quite get that one. That should be better. Okay, that'll be slip pocket. And get both sides. So we have a handful of like inner zip pocket, which I'm going to do out of the red. We have a handful of random stuff, which isn't quite the right phrasing for it. There we go. Non-exterior. There we go. Maybe. Okay, inner zip pocket. Since we're doing all of our accent stuff out of the red. And I think we only need one of this, but I want to double check and I don't want to fib. So. Inner zip pocket. 1. Yep. Oh, and did you guys see the cutting lists? Page 3 is multiple versions of the cutting list, which is an awesome idea. I adore it. Inner zipper pocket. Just 1. I absolutely love it. And of course, there's dimensions for the inner zipper pocket and all that jazz on the pattern. I think I might go all the way up to the selvage for this, just because there's no coloration difference. A lot of times there's coloration difference, like just like a finger width right there, and I'm not seeing one, so why waste it? And I have a cat on my foot. I guess I won't be moving that foot for a while. Hi, kitten. It's amazing what you can do during a lunge. There we go. And I have to turn it around because I don't have a huge surface. Alright, what am I up to? I love this, but it's so pretty. Oop. There we go. Back to my normals. Okay. So there is my inner zip pocket for the large pattern. So side panel is 2 exterior, 2 lining. And then we have a bottom panel with 1 exterior and 1 lining. So since I'm working on my linings, yes, kitty, you are hampering my movement. Oh, how much she does not care. The main lining is out of this. So let's see what we can cut. See if we can save any of this. Is this big enough? Probably not. Nope. Why are you sitting on my foot, kitten? So what I'll probably do is do the side panel, which are 2 individual pieces, not a fold line, right next to the exterior, perhaps? That's not a toy. I know it hit you, I'm sorry. But at least she's off my foot now. Probably not. I'll probably do these this way. Okay. And the nice thing is she does give you dots on where to expect to put your bag feet, which is fun. That's always nice to know, so I don't have to measure a whole bunch of things. Though measuring isn't a bad idea. That way you have all the same things in the same places and stuff. Okay, let me get center. but I only need one of these. So since I only need one, I kind of need to separate the two layers here a little bit. Don't you love it with freshly sharpened scissors and everything cuts like butter? Makes me so happy. All right. Just because there's fuzzies, I'm going to take the extra couple of moments to pull out the rotary cutter, because I don't want to accidentally try and cut off fuzzies and then completely lose my train of thought. There. Much better. So I have one interfacing for the bottom, and I actually have a second interfacing because I wasn't sure how my vinyl was going to handle how sturdy it was going to be, or how much stretch my vinyl had. I decided to interface it. I eventually decided to interface the vinyl, and the vinyl that I have handles being interfaced just fine. Not all vinyls do. I cannot stress enough that you need to test to make sure that your vinyl will handle the heat that you're going to put it under, the heat and the pressure. I regularly have to do my... So I have a silicone sheet, which I got from the barbecue section of Amazon. And I do my interface pressing on it as much as physically possible. Because if you can see these little, I have these tiny little white flecks, like, yeah, so see these little white flecks? That's actually interfacing, extra interfacing glue. And I certainly don't want that to be on my project. But it has a texture. So what I'm getting at is, if you do use your, if you do have one of those, and you choose, you need to be careful not to add the texture of that silicone mat to the texture of your vinyl, unless you want to. That vinyl that I have has its own texture and its own pattern, which is kind of a crosshatch, but it's an irregular crosshatch. It's really weird, but it's awesome. And I do not want to add the little like dot basket weave that is on my mat to my vinyl, because that's not what it's supposed to be. So I don't get to, so the moral of the story is, use a silicone mat if you can, if you have a press, whenever possible, so that you don't accidentally get glue on your project where you shouldn't. And it also protects my press board. But if you're going to interface your vinyl, don't use a silicone mat, unless you want the texture of the silicone mat to be impressed into the plastic of the vinyl. That's the end of the story. Long story. No good reason, right? Okay. And one. And two. Okay. So that's the lining. And here's the interfacing for the vinyl. When I cut that part out. Okay, so there are a couple of different things, and I cut something out twice, which is really funny. So there's a couple of different pattern pieces that I need to figure out where they go before I'm going to cut them out. And apparently I'm going to get a phone call. And I am not going to be answering that phone call. Have a good day. Okay, so we can look at the pattern picture and figure out where the side strap is going to be. Not too hard to figure that out. That's the little tabs on the right, or the far right and far left. And I know I want those to be vinyl. Like, I know I want those to be acute vinyl. Do I? No, I think I want those to be this color. No, they're going to be vinyl in the other one. Let's just make them vinyl. They'll probably be sturdier that way. Okay, so I'll put that to the side. And let's see. Yep, those are the little tabs on the far right, far left. Now, I have a zip panel, a front strap, and a slip pocket accent. So the front strap is those straps that go all the way up. So I know I want those to be my vinyl. So let's put those over at the vinyl cutting section. So I have a slip pocket accent and a zip panel. So I'm going to flip through the pattern and see where it comes into. So they have the slip pocket accent being cut out of the exterior, or an exterior. And they have the zipper panel as 2 exterior and 2 lining. So hold on, we did the front panel. The accent panel and the corner pieces are going to be my vinyl. We did the bottom panel lining, and we did the side panel linings. We're going to cut out the front straps. Do I have 4? 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes, we're going to cut out the front straps out of vinyl. Sorry about the train, guys. Handle and crossbody strap, I know where those are. So zipper panel and slip pocket accent. Oh, and she only interfaces the front, bottom, and side panels? Okay. I'm clearly interfacing more than I need to. That's okay. All right. Let's take a look at this so that I can see the... Oh, I closed the window. So what I'm doing now is a little bit of research. So I want to see pictures, and I'm going back to Sheera's website, and I want to make sure I take a look at pictures of the interior of the bag. Okay, so the slip pocket accent is a binding off the top, so that's what's going on there. So I want this in the red, or in my, yeah, I want it in red or my pattern. I think the pattern would look dumb, but I think the red would blend in. Uh-oh, what am I gonna do? I don't think I have any of the other colors of my main bag pattern. Let's take a look. All right. This is the part that I love, is the designing part. I love doing the designing part. Hold on, let me get you guys back up on my screen. There you are. Okay, let's see if I have, what else do we have? A green, a peach. I could do a gray. I probably have the gray. It's a little dark for the gray. We'll keep it around. It's the lightest gray I have. It's kind of an olive green, right? The green I have is a bit brighter and a bit further off than that gray. The gray wouldn't be bad. And I have a peach or a mustard yellow. Definitely no mustard yellow, definitely no peach. Yeah, I think it's the gray. Okay. Little strip of gray. Okay, that makes more sense now that I know what it is. And that also means I'm going to have to change that on the other one. And I think the zip panel, I don't know what the zip panel is. It's big though. And they want it two exterior, two interior, right? That's what the cutout says. Zipper panel is 2 lining, 2 exterior fabrics. Okay, now I want to see that website. And let's take a look at a couple other people's bags. There are some very cute bags by this, by the way. I don't know what this zipper panel is used for. I mean, I'm sure I will. Okay. We'll figure it out. There we go. Thanks for your patience, everybody. For now, I'll probably put the zip panel to the side. And wait to see if I almost threw my clip into my soda. Okay. These are done. This is done. This is done. We're going to do the slip pocket accent in gray. Cute little guy. I think I'm going to cheat. I think I'm going to adhere. Oh, this is thick. I think I'm going to cheat and adhere the pattern piece to the fabric. Hey now, get back up here. Oh good, it'll fit. So because it was folded up like a fat quarter, I'm going to get a little wet. Steam it out a little bit, just so it's flat. And I don't usually do this because I like doing layout too much, but I'm going to put the interfacing on the main fabric. I did this a couple of times and it's neat, like the method is ideal, but I like it and I don't like it. So it's the whole interfacing the fabric before you cut it out concept. And it's got its place, but there's sometimes I like it and sometimes I don't. Like right now, okay, that's cool. But I also don't like we're going to have to cut both pieces out twice anyway. So I don't see the big deal in cutting out the interfacing, then cutting out the pattern piece. After that and this bothers me. The leftover interfacing pieces that are stuck to the fabric because I didn't cut on the outside of the interfacing. That's the thing that really bothers me. All right. Okay, so we have a whole bunch of stuff that we have to cut out with vinyl. So I'm going to get my roll of vinyl. So this was on a flat fold at Joann's. Emergency vehicles are going outside my house. Everybody here is fine. And apparently I'm just going to drop things. It'll be great. There we go. So, like I was saying, it was on the flat fold at Joann Fabrics. Obviously, this is where the fold was, right here. You can kind of see it's nice and golden, and then it's got a little bump right there. It's been on the roll for a good, at least a couple weeks. I try to always re-roll them onto rolls so that the fabric the vinyl ends up flattening a little bit. So it's a little easier to work with. The first two things, because I do have a straight edge, the first two things I want to cut out are the big straight things. So there is a post-it note around here somewhere. There was. I might have thrown it out. There's a nice big yellow post-it note that told me, haha, there it is. My crossbody dimensions and my handle dimensions. Awesome. So normally I do a handle that is half vinyl and half fabric, just because my sewing machine isn't heavy duty enough. Like, I don't work on an industrial machine. But I think I'm going to try. Because this is not an insane thin vinyl, but it's an okay thin vinyl. Like, I'm pretty sure I can get multiple layers of vinyl under this. I think I can do it. So if you're going to do a half vinyl, half fabric strap, you want to cut your vinyl and strap to be twice as wide as your hardware. So we're using 1-inch hardware, so you'd cut your strap, your strap fabric, both the vinyl and the fabric, you'd cut them at 2 inches. And just as long as you would the regular dimensions. So if a particular strap is supposed to be 12 inches long, then cut it at 12 inches. And I am going to interface these guys in just a moment. So one day, my husband will make me a crafting table, so he says. Raise your hand if your husband has said something similar. And on that day, it will be as wide as my cutting mat is. So I actually have a bigger cutting mat than my prep table in preparation of this wondrous day. Stop that. You hold still. I don't actually expect to ever get here. But it's a nice dream. Bad razor etiquette. I didn't close my razor after my last cut. Bad me. Stay. Thank you. Can you tell I saw that coming? Okay, so I have handles and strap cut. And I will interface those later because they will take forever, and the last thing you want to do is sit here and yawn while I interface something. So I have a tiny little scrap, and I have a handful of other scraps. Where did I put those down? There's a handful of other scraps, which will be great for some of this stuff. Like side straps. Fit right there. And right there. Beautiful. So this vinyl, in addition to, so this is what I found out in my testing. When I tested and first started putting interfacing to this vinyl likes to curl. And it will curl unless I put a weight on it. So I'm being pretty careful with, that's why I have two mats going on right here. I'll put them between the mats, because if I put it down on the base on this table, it would probably, the plastic would probably form into the cracks of the table, because it's a tiled table. So where the grout lines are, and then everything would be wonky. And it cools fairly quickly, and then it's nice and flat again. But it's one of those things you got to do right away. Because it'll start curling. Well, these scissors were butter. There we go, side straps are done. And I think this guy is pretty much done because I don't think I have anything else that's that small. Like I said, it happens pretty quick. And the difference between the two textures isn't really a lot. I mean, they've still got that nice pattern to them. This one is just a tiny bit flatter, but not that most people would be able to tell. I mean, I'm just assuming it's flatter probably because I flattened it. I know it gets flatter because this bump goes away, but still. So we're doing front straps now. See, caught it just before it squeaked bad on us. actually looking at the dimensions of my interfacing. Turns out good. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Hot, 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 hot. So I have a handful of scraps left. And we have a side panel and a bottom and 2 accent pieces. So this accent piece, I want to take a look at how okay, so it does canter up just a tiny bit, but not enough that I'm going to throw off my XYZ, if that makes sense. So I have, on my vinyls, I have vertical lines and horizontal lines, and I don't want to mess up that on this piece. I kind of want to keep it parallel to the ground, if that makes any sense. And I'm not the 2 accent pieces, so this and this, those 2 accent pieces, I am not interfacing. Even with my fairly thin vinyl, there's no need to interface it because everything else is interfaced. So not really worried about that piece. And since I have a couple of tiny pieces, I figured I'd pull this little guy out. And that's not going to work. And that's not going to work. Okay. Will work like this. So, and how I did this when I was doing the little one is I'd actually cut it out from the front. And I took some of these big horizontal lines that are on my, that are actually in the pattern of the fabric. And I lined up my fabric, my pattern piece along that big horizontal line. And I literally just drew an outline of it. Now we need 4 that go, or 2 that go this, 2 that go this way and 2 that go this way, because they're on each corner of the purse. There we go. And when I cut this out, I'm going to cut it out to make absolutely certain that there's no pen mark on my fabric, on the piece that I'm keeping. Because if there's any pen mark, then that's going to show, because at least on the outside curve, because that is an exposed edge. And I intend on treating that exposed edge so it isn't just exposed edge of vinyl. So you'll get to see that with me too. And all I'm going to do is paint it, like we did with the Journey travel bag. There. Now I will still press these because I don't want the pattern of these to match, to not match rather, the pattern of the other vinyl. Like I don't want this to be puffier than the other vinyl. Let me give myself a better view. have a little bit on this edge that I need to cut off that I'm showing the pen mark. Not as big a deal because that is in the seam, but there we go. 2. That, and when I press it, it'll get this piece is over that middle hump. It'll get that out. One more. There. Okay. And of course, I will put the fabric side up towards the plate so that when I can make these dry or whatever. So what I'm trying to say, let me get some words out, shall I? I'm putting the fabric side towards the plate up on my heat press. Steam iron, sorry. Technically, I have a steam iron. So that I don't accidentally melt the vinyl side, which is what I was trying to say. But that will make all of those nice and flat. Okay, now that we've got the straight pieces out of the way, now we can get to the fun wonky ones. And since this is an accent piece as well, and this right here, drawing those nice curves like that, that's why I like having plastic pattern pieces. It might be a pain in the butt to repaint, to redo them every single time, but drawing this curve that easy, instead of slipping around that fabric pattern piece 20 times, makes me very happy. And of course, I'm right-handed. So, you know, don't mind me. It's actually easier to lean over this thing than to remove and reposition all of this. There we go. That's gonna be a beautiful bag. 1, 2, 3. As I match it the wrong way. 4. There we go. 4 accent pieces. Exterior corners. 1 boat. Get on the boat. The banana boat. Sorry, guys. Sorry if you have that in your head for a while. And 2. So one thing that me cutting out patterns works best for me anyway is to always, if you've noticed, keep my left hand stable in, or your non-writing hand stable, and holding the pattern piece and not letting the pattern piece move. That helps me a great deal. And I know it sounds like duh moment kind of level of information, but then I also do these little tally marks that tell me where center is and where I need to flip the pattern piece over to. And if I've got a straight line, I'll sometimes move the pattern piece over. I know you can see the shiny part. I'll take the pattern piece and I'll move it over a little bit to kind of continue this line right here so that I know where it was going. And I can easily line up right-handed. Then I can easily line up the flipped over side. I did this, I think, with the slip pocket pattern piece. That, and I try to remember to take long snips as opposed to little snips. The longer a cutting motion that you make, like less hesitation marks, the smoother a cut you're going to have. Just like if you were doing the same thing with stitching. So doing a little bit of stitching and then stop, stitch, stop, stitch, stop. If you keep doing that, you're going to get a less fluid line of stitching. Same concept if you're doing it with cutting something out. Okay, let's see if we can get this bottom panel into what's left on this far side. Pretty sure it'll work. Yep, awesome. So here's an example, a perfect example of what I mean by extending. So I made a middle mark, but I want to extend this line so that I can easily draw the rest of it, and I know what that line was doing. There we go. And And I will interface this piece. The reason I'm interfacing this piece is because it does have a little bit of stretch to it, and I want to get rid of that. So I'll interface this guy. Where did my pretty boats go? Ah, they're over here. Sorry, guys. I know, horrible, horrible sound. And very hot fabric, by the way. It's just a little warm and toasty there. Okay, side panels, and I think that's it. Side exterior panels. Let's see if I can use up some of this space here. But I don't want to get, since I have such a clear crosshair, I don't want to get off, I don't want to accidentally get something that is going like this. So what I'm going to do is wonder how I got silicone on my mug. Okay, that's new. And I'm going to find my big ruler. There she is. And I'm going to line up a line along the edge of my roll. So that I can, whatever I'm going to put here is going to be parallel with the edge of my roll of vinyl. So I've lined up this line right here with the edge of the roll of my vinyl, and I'm lining up my pattern with the edge of my ruler. So that will be nice and straight. Now that's going to be much more interesting to try and do over here. Not sure I'm going to be able to pull that off. At least not from this side. Before I do that, I'm going to get this piece out. Beautiful. I'll put that under my steam press while I'm putting this bottom panel away. Hot, 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 hot. So only do this to mats that you don't care about anymore, by the way, because they do kind of warp the mat for a little while at least. Just throwing that out there. So I think I'm going to skip trying to put it in this valley, and I'm just going to put it right here. Because I don't want to try and measure that far over for something that's going to be that persnickety. And where did my pen go? Alright guys, everybody find my pen. Is everybody looking? Really appreciate it. Give me a hand like this. Seriously, where's my pen? It's probably hiding under the vinyl. No. I'm probably going to slip on it tomorrow. Let's see if I can get a different pen to work. I couldn't get any of my pens to work this afternoon when I was setting up. You'd think in a pen cup this big, I can get one of these neat pens to work. Ah, there we go. We have a winner. You get to stay in the pen cup. At least I found my scissors. Don't you dare roll off the table. Ah, found my pen. At least it was being helpful. Okay, let me put this down. The other reason I don't mind pressing this vinyl is like, so you can see how this one's got a couple of creases in it. It was on the end, so it was probably when it was sitting up, it had a little bit of weight on it. When I press it, that'll go away. And my last piece to interface. Come on now. There we go. And guys, it's that simple. It took us, just over an hour to cut this out. Granted, I knew, I had the pattern all set up and ready, so I didn't have to cut out the pattern. But it was that fast. This is a nice, cute little bag. It's got some beautiful accents on it. I'm really excited. Clearly, I need to go get my ruler. But I'm excited to do this one. This one's going to be a lot of fun, guys. Let's see. First sewing session is a week from today, 6 o'clock. Same time that you joined me here just now. By then I will know what the zip panel is for, I hope. Because I can't fathom where it's going or what it's doing. But we will figure it out by then. Don't forget to use the 15% off discount code. It is good only for today. So if you are watching it and it is not Wednesday 9/23, I'm really sorry. Wish you could have joined us for this sew-along. Would have been great, right? You're so pretty. It does have a little bit of a crease right there still. But I think it's only going to be me that notices that. Alright. So accent panel, bottom panel. Oh, I need to press my accent panel still. I'll put those to the side. Whole bunch of little stuff. Inner zip pocket. Corner, front straps. It's gonna look so pretty. Slip pocket accent. I would have called it binding, but that's okay. Now we know what it is. My little side straps. I'm really looking forward to this guy. I mean, think about it. Like, isn't that beautiful? It's just pretty. It's gonna be great. Sorry, I'm reminiscing. Yes, so week from today. This was a really quick cutout session. Really quick, speaking of, I will go over the hardware in case you missed it. It's got a nice, good little selection of hardware. And again, there's a typo on the pattern. You actually need 6 swivel hooks, not 4. Let me get my hardware out. There it is. So, I have picked up several, I think it's like 10 yards or something, of number 5 zipper. I picked white tape with antique brass zipper teeth. I'm really sorry, guys. I can't get my words out today. And the antique brass zipper pulls. I have purse feet, the sliders. Again, you need 6 of the swivel hooks and 8 D-rings. You can get by with, or 6 D-rings. 6 D-rings? You can get by with 6. If you only have 6 D-rings, you'll be fine. 8 is for accent stuff. The last 2 are for accents. Yes, so there's my hardware. If you missed it, this video will still be, if you missed it, you aren't seeing this part. If you missed it, this video will still be available on Barb's Bags and on my YouTube channel. Tryxus Designs has been kind enough to let me put this video on my YouTube channel. So yay, if you're seeing this on my YouTube channel, thanks so much for following me. And that is it for today. I'll see you guys in a week. Thanks so much for joining me, and you guys take care.